Hi, I'm Lia, I'm a visual artist, and in this video I want to share the art process of creating this piece that is part of the Matera project and that I'm currently working on, but I also would like to share part of my everyday life around the studio. I also would like to share the place I live with my husband and my cat, because we live in the middle of the Atlantic forest in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, next to a preservation park, and it's a place of infinite beauties and it inspires me every day. The landscape is amazing, flowers, plants, animals. We have a lot of wildlife here. It's a remote area. We do have power, we have internet, but we don't have all services that you can get in the city. So it's kind of remote, but it's not completely off grid. And we moved to this place around 5 years ago. And it's so inspiring for me that I was really hoping to show you part of this place and maybe include more of this place in my next videos. In the snippets from Europe and in the Matera project, I've been showing you places I've been, but now I would like to show you, also through drawings and paintings, the place I am. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Before I start painting or drawing, I plug in the microphone and turn on the cameras so I can record the process to later create these videos. For this piece, I wanted to use a vertical reference photo with a crop of the city, very abstract kind of, very graphic, with not a lot of perspective, more like a texture of the city, something like that. And for that, I decided to use toned paper in beige, this one by Canson Graduate, because I think it would be helpful to have a base color already. And now I'm cutting an A3 size paper into 4 A5s, because I want to have a paper with the same color as the final piece to do my swatches and also to test the soft pastel that I'm going to use with water. In this piece, I'll be using Stabilo's Carbotello pencils that are soft pastels or chalk pastels as they call it, that are also water soluble. But then I noticed that the lid of the box was almost falling off, so I had to fix it before moving on. So here I'm fixing the box. And then I moved on to some swatches. First, I selected some colors that I thought were more appropriate for the houses. But then I decided to test not only the color, but also how it behaves when blended with my fingers and how it behaves using just as a pencil, not blending. And if you pay enough attention, you will notice that I'm using different fingers for different colors. So that's why the swatches are very clean. And then I decided to also test it with water. My idea initially was not to use with water, but since I'm using a water-soluble material in a mixed media paper, I thought it would be a good idea to take advantage of that and see how it works. The Carbotello pencils are water-soluble, but not so much, so the pencil marks will still be on the paper, but part of the pigment will create a base color that is very beautiful. But if you want a stronger base color, maybe you should use watercolor beforehand or something similar. One thing that I dislike about cylinder pencils is that they tend to roll off the table and fall to the floor, and broke the part inside, especially if it's soft pastels, so that's why I keep them together in this case. To draw the margins, I'm using colored graphite in red. And I'm sketching with yellow pencil very lightly because I will go over the first sketch with a darker pencil later. But I wanted to have some lines beforehand and I don't want to erase them completely. So that's why I went for a color very similar to the base color. Here I'm observing the reference photo and drawing the buildings and houses as I saw in the photo, but not too worried about perspective. As I said before, I'm going for a more flat approach to perspective, more kind of abstract in a way. And especially in the upper part of the drawing, it has very little perspective, so I'm not worried about vanishing point and things like that. But I am trying to follow the proportions of the drawings and having the main elements on the paper. Some details I'm just leaving behind and I'm selecting those as I draw. This part at the bottom of the paper that we are seeing from the top, our point of view is higher than this part. This part has a little bit of perspective, but I'm not super worried about that. I'm drawing it very loosely. And now that I'm finishing the first sketch, let me introduce you to my cat, Yuki. We are in winter time here in Brazil, and this is his favorite spot in the studio right now because of the heater, as you can imagine. And he is my studio assistant. Back to the painting. Now I'm going over the first sketch with a darker pencil and stronger lines. I'm also adding more details and correcting some parts that I draw too loosely in the first sketch, so it will be closer to what I want in the final piece. I think in this piece will be good to have some parts with less details and some parts with more details, like these stairs that I'm drawing right now. So I have a tendency to add too much detail. So let's see if I'll be able to keep it simple this time. I don't know. The roof also, I decided to add more details. But maybe I will leave some facades, the wall itself, with less detail. Let's see. But I added a little bit of color to some of the walls, so they will have a slightly different shades of color, not too much. And then I decided that the stairs would be drawn with more details. I think this will work. And I'm using different colors for the line work. I don't know if I'll go over it with different colors, but right now I'm enjoying as it is. So the top part of the drawing is a warm brown, kind of reddish, and the bottom is kind of yellowish brown, something like that. After finishing the line work, I'll add color to the facades as well. So today I'm going through one of the downsides of living in a rural area, kind of isolated from everything. That is, I'm out of internet. All the neighborhood is out of internet, but we don't get cellular signal here, so mobile phones don't work here. So when we are out of internet like now, and the whole neighborhood, we have to drive to another place, another neighborhood that gets cellular signal or that has place with Wi-Fi working. So right now I went to the nearest supermarket, which is in another neighborhood, so I can complain about the lack of internet, and then I have to wait, and maybe it will work again today or not, I don't know. So this is kind of annoying, especially if it's one of the days that I have to upload my video file to YouTube. It never happened, so I'm kind of lucky, but you know, it might happen in the future. And I don't own a notebook, so if we do have to upload the file and we are out of internet, I will probably have to move my files to my husband's computer and then drive to a place with Wi-Fi. Cellular data won't be enough, so I can upload the files to YouTube. So that's it. But I love this place. That's okay, I can handle being without internet every once in a while because this place is just amazing. So that's it. I just wanted to share. Now I'm doing two things at the same time. I'm sharpening the pencil, but at the same time I'm keeping the soft pastel powder to be used with a cotton ball on the walls. I lift a little bit of the powder with the cotton ball and I apply it directly to the paper. So I will still have the beige color of the paper, but in some parts it could be a little more yellow, others a little more pinkish. Different buildings with different colors. And I'm also going over the lines with the cotton ball, pressing the cotton ball against the paper as a way to make the lines softer, but at the same time to make the pigment adhere better to the paper. The result is a kind of stained paper with some parts with more color, some parts with less color. The lines are very soft and diffuse, very blurry, and I think by itself it's already beautiful. It could be more with more contrast, but I like it already. But in my case, this is the base for the next phase. And now I'm changing the setup of my lights and my cameras and organizing the studio for the next phase because I wanted to work in a vertical position. So that's why I needed an easel with more inclination than my current table allows to. I decided to use tape to protect the margins. At first I wasn't going to, but then I changed my mind. And I'm doing this repeated motion of applying it to the easel and removing it so I can have less glue on the tape, so it will preserve better the paper itself. The first layer is ready. Now I'm moving on to the next phase. And for that, I decided to use an easel and have the piece vertically and also parallel to my eyes. So it will be better for me to see, to watch what I'm doing and to distance myself and get back to a closer position. And also because this way it's easier not to ruin the piece, because I won't need to press my hand and my arm on top of it. If it was lying on a table, it would be easier, even using an extra paper, it would be easier to maybe put too much pressure, and then you will, for example, if you're drawing this part and you put your arm in this part, you might ruin this. So I think this is the best position to continue working on this piece. I'll show you the beginning of this layer, but we'll finish this painting in the next video. In this layer, I'll add more color, more texture, and maybe water on some parts. For me, it's a pleasure to work with physical materials and my own hands. And through these videos, I hope to inspire others to appreciate the intentional act of creating art with their own hands using traditional techniques. There's a deeply personal connection that comes from making art in a tangible way. If this way of thinking resonates with you, subscribe to my channel and let's share our experiences and talk about the art process. This is the result of what I have finished so far, and I kind of like it even unfinished, but I'll continue it in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this new format of videos where I'm sharing more about my everyday life and studio life, and also the place that I live and that inspires me daily. And in the next video, I'll continue working on this project. Bye!